Banning away the Alistair and the Ashe, already a bottom lane duo, or taken away from RNG as Thresh banned from 5. Of course, very consistent ban here against OMG as Vladimir is going to follow on the red side.
And Uzi is such a good stand and deliver Ashe player. I mean, this guy really does not shy away from a duel on the champion. So like to see that being taken away from him. See whether they also hit the Sivir, which is something that Uzi has been playing a tremendous amount, or SMLZ just wants to take it first pick for himself.
Have actually been seeing Sivers as being the first pick a few extra times, as now RNG with their final ban. MLXG's Nidalee is going to go. Of course, we did see it in their Siege Mode game. MLXG had a great time on the champion as Spawn collapses onto the table. Malzahar going to be the final ban there for RNG. Understandable, as OMG seeing what they want to do for this final pick.
I assume it is going to be a Sivir.
Shen's up, something like that as well.
Yeah, Shen is available. One thing that I will say, if they do run Sivir, we're probably going to see a Hecarim picked up on the other side of the rift, so we'll see how that one works out. Karma is also still available. Azir would surprise the heck out of me.
Yeah, that would be very interesting, as of course Xiaohu, definitely a legacy Azir player, but not necessarily first pickable at the moment, current state of the meta, as Xiang considering the Braum for a pretty standard support first pick for OMG, not showing their hand, but does give them some power in the early stage. But this would be very OMG.
That's a nothing pick, though. Yes, it is OMG, and it's Xiang's best champion, arguably. However, I'm not sure Lupa wants to play it all that much, Atlas, and that's what you generally use your first pick for.
Well, Xiang is going to lock it away. He had a bit of a sly grin on his face there, but no, it's going to be the Maokai. And MLXG says, well, I'll take the Hecarim, don't you worry about that. And locks it away immediately. We'll see what Lupa decides to pick up, and Braum would make a heck of a lot of sense, and RNG do it.
So letting them get a second round of Sivir would be really interesting here, because Sivir Maokai has always been an incredibly potent comp
for OMG.
Yes, means that you don't really have to look for flanks, you can, which is what we criticize Xiang on a lot. You can just run straight at the front line. However, everyone just picking for themselves right now.
That's assuming Lupa is going to be playing top lane Braum, which I assume is probably correct. Uzi now thinking about Caitlyn, but yeah, Icon locks away the LeBlanc, has seen a few bans against him, of course. Icon definitely a playmaker there in the mid lane. We'll see whether Xiaohu has some plans for it. The Syndra making its way back into the meta does raise some eyebrows at this stage. Xiaohu always a pretty good low mobility mage player.
Yeah, certainly is. I mean, he's also a very good Lissandra player if that is going to be locked in.
Yes. Fits a similar style as well. You can stay relatively safe. Shove out waves. They're going to pick two mid laners. That makes sense.
Of course, one of them can go into the top lane.
And Lupa, of course, has always been a fantastic rumble. That one's going to be locked away. Lissandra there as well. So Xiaohu and Lupa going towards that double AP composition here for RNG. But MLXG going to make up for a lot of that AD damage as Uzi saving his pick until last, which is so interesting considering the fact that every AD carry is on the table apart from Ashe.
They want to know what they can get away with in the bottom lane. Do they have to play something mid-range like Illusion to bridge the early game gap? Or can they take something like that is on your screen, like a Kog'Maw, like a Twitch, and really throw down in the laning phase?
Well, it is going to be the Tahm Kench picked up by 5, so wants to keep this Kog'Maw as alive as possible throughout this game. And now Uzi to make up his mind as to what he wants to take into it. The frog and the puppy.
I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like Illusion. That is such an exploitable lane. OMG pretty much need to guarantee a lane swap right now. If any aggression comes out of the RNG duo, just because it is so hard already to survive Tahm Kench lanes, let alone when you give it something like a Kog'Maw. Sure, it will spike hard at one item, but you have to get to the one item, Atlas.
Yeah,
and that's going to be difficult.
He's actually considering the Sivir at the moment, of course, can scale almost equally as hard. We did see Vici capitalize on this matchup very effectively, but it wasn't a Braum. It was the Taric Sivir instead.
I actually think Sivir scales harder damage-wise than Kog'Maw. Has AoE crits and also can build penetration, which means that, is much better at getting through tanks. Of course, Kog'Maw has percentage health damage, I know, but if you build magic-resistant armor against him, that really does start to whittle down very quickly.
That's very true.
And he can't build penetration items because nothing really makes sense. There is no hybrid pen. One thing, however, that he has that Sivir never can purchase is that range. When he puts on the W, he can really attack from a very long distance. So, Xiaohu, Lupa going to have to be on point and getting back there and dealing with SMLZ.
Not to mention MLXG there as well, who can just canter up to the Cogmore. We'll see whether 5 can keep SMLZ alive. A lot is going to be about whether OMG can play this more Peel style with this Cogmore on the team, and then Icon with the flanking play, Zhuizhui with all of his AoE damage that he can throw down. But it does fit into what Xiong does want to do on his Maokai. He's a fantastic peeling top laner.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, as I said, it's going to be Xiong going crazy and really carrying these team fights. A lot of AoE damage coming out of RNG, so Maokai very important. One thing I do want to point out is that it was actually RNG that proved that Graves, LeBlanc can team fight together. Interested to see if OMG can execute.
Well, we'll see whether they can. Coaches shake hands. Let's get into game number 1 of RNG, OMG.
We come and we go.
Thank you very much, Uzi, and here we are on to Summoner's Rift for game number 1 between RNG and OMG. First dragon is going to be that Ocean Drake. As teams now move off, and we'll see whether we get any lane swaps, any fancy shenanigans here in the early game. Of course, Mata with the Winter's Bite. Those concussive blows, probably wants to get into the jungle, and you can see already RNG moving over there.
Yeah, exactly right. And I really do want to reiterate the point that OMG do not want to 2v2 lane against this. It is a brutal lane at the best of the times, let alone when you have someone like Mata playing Braum.
Yeah.
Just get the heck out of the lane.
They've done exactly that. Now moving towards the top side of the map. Uzi still down here with Mata. You can see pings out from OMG on their tri-brush on the bottom side of the map. We'll see whether RNG are going to try and match the lane swap or just go into it, play the game out, and see whether they can get things working for themselves.
I have no doubt that because of the way the map is right now, they're going into a 2v0 situation. My real question is do they back after the first wave? Because it's something that historically RNG has done a lot. They don't care if they get lane swapped away from. They disrupt the jungle, they shove wave number 1, and then they back away. Ward expires. They are able to get through here.
Yeah, they're going to find Zhuizhui and Xiong on the Krugs. Gromp is going to fall down on the top side of the map as Mata lets this one reset, lands himself a Winter's Bite as well, so pressuring them out. Cute little auto attack W coming out from Icon there in the mid lane. Xiaohu probably still going to be fine though as Mata finds Xiong looking for the stun. Won't get it. Very brave of them to start off this red buff, as there's the exhaust. Zhuizhui is going to get stunned as Mata gets himself the Grasp of the Undying, gets himself the smite back, and now they're turning onto Mata. Hasn't got the level 2 yet, though. Cinderlings will have to fall down as MLXG wants to get in on this party, just walks all the way back around. Zhuizhui gets himself the level 2. That was a lot of effort put in towards this bottom side of the map.
Yeah, it certainly was, but you can see already 2 camps picked up for MLXG and Looper. This is going to be the 3rd, so big advantages for RNG in this early game, and it looks like it is just going to be a traditional style lane swap. Push on the 3rd wave for RNG, push on the 2nd wave out of OMG, saving some of those minions alive. It means the top laner has to go there much more quickly.
You can see Looper able to help MLXG out here with this Krug camp. We'll see whether MLXG actually decides to hang around and help take down this turret. Doesn't look like it as he heads back towards the Rift Scuttler. Xiaohu misses a cannon creep, so that is, wow, really interesting out of Looper. Decides to teleport to save himself a creep for a little while longer.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, they thought that they were behind in tempo of the lane swap, so they decide to expend that teleport. That was an interesting call.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it was a good idea, but I understood why he did it.
And you can see it has meant that the next wave has crashed, so they will be able to get this in pretty quick time.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is a strategy to get yourself an early dragon, because we've already seen Hecarim once tonight pick up an early dragon.
That is a very good point. We'll see whether they do move over there.
All right, so it was just a strategy to burn teleport for no reason. Good call.
Well, Xiong and Loop are going to take down these turrets at about the same time. Both of them bouncing the waves quite effectively as well.
Every now and again, you'll get that guy in solo queue. His name's normally Spawn, where like he'll get ahead and he'll do crazy things like flash over the back end of a dragon pit or something, just because he doesn't want to walk around. Whoop.
Yeah, well, there's the Claw of Doom. Xiaohu trying to get the stomp, and he does. Circle of Frost comes in after the flash, and MLXG locks down the kill.
Very vocal out of MLXG on the back end of that kill as well. I think he had some choice words, actually, for Zhuizhui coming into his jungle. Did not like that one at all.
Yeah. It's like, what are you doing on this side of the map? This is not how it makes sense. I've even denied my own wolf camp because you're supposed to be on the bottom side.
Yeah, exactly right. You see, the second time we've seen a denial of a wolf camp today, so something definitely in the water right now of LPL teams. New adaptation, new flavor of the month. What I was going to say is maybe Looper just didn't want to walk. And he's like, I could either flash to the turret or teleport there.
MLXG with a level advantage, but doesn't have the health advantage for the moment.
Yeah, but Braum can make his way down. I mean, technically, LeBlanc can also cheat across, so they just let him have the wolf camp.
MLXG has the help of a Winter's Bite to take down this Gromp as well. Gets himself the proc for the stun, bit of health back as he takes that one down. Now Zhuizhui picking up his Raptor camp. We'll see whether he can get himself back into this matchup. Of course, ahead on CS just a little bit as far as that jungle is concerned, but MLXG went back with that first blood, got himself a Phage, and he's very scary. Yeah,
well and truly accelerated into this early game for the Hecarim. Kobe in the NALCS today was saying, it's one of the junglers that you could actually argue of giving kills over to early. Yeah. Is a lot more beneficial to accelerate that Trinity Force pickup.
Even, here in the LPL, seeing Hecarims just not even build jungle items spawn.
Yep. Thank you, SOFM, for introducing a whole new world into the LPL.
Yep. Still not sure whether it's actually a good idea, but was a cute move as OMG brute force this tower. Decide not to wait for the next minion wave with 4 people as well. So get that one a little bit more quickly, as the Ocean Drake might be their next target. RNG take down this top lane.
They do have Kog'Maw and Graves. I mean, that is an incredibly good dragon-taking team, so they will be able to pick up Dragon number 1, Xiang, guaranteeing no freeze errors. Gank early.
Yeah, there's the ultimate down as Xiaohu will be able to lock up Icon for a little while. Chain goes down, though. Lands the Mimic Chain as well. Xiaohu is in trouble. He's burning to death. The last auto attack's going to do it. Not sure why he was just standing there, but didn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, he certainly didn't. He didn't have flash. Icon did. I mean, that's a huge mistake actually out of MLXG. MLXG didn't commit to the dive. If he had even taken one turret shot and gotten that auto attack, Xiaohu wins that 1v1 duel. Instead, he just backed away.
Yeah, and it is going to mean that Icon now has a lead in the mid lane. We know what this guy can do with that kind of advantage. Hasn't got them to anything like a gold lead just yet. Still 400 ahead is RNG after that first blood. But really interesting miscommunication coming out from RNG.
Yeah, bizarre as well. It's the 2 Chinese players. I mean, we know that RNG still do have trouble with their comms. For anyone that was on the mic checks during MSI and stuff, and they're continually posted around, they still do pretty much speak English in their comms with Mandarin between the jungle and mid laner, but that was an interesting one.
That was just very strange. Like they both had very different ideas moving into that. Zycon will be able to clear out this mid lane once again, was shoved towards him by MLXG. Negatron Cloak now completed for Xiaohu, but he had himself quite a considerable CS lead earlier on. Now everything falling out of his control. Frozen Tomb will be up relatively soon though, and he's able to continue pushing things out.
And maybe then they look for a dive. I mean, they have complete control over the bottom half of the jungle. It looks like they do want to be able to push a tier 2 turret. It's going to be responded to in the top lane. I have to say that great job so far out of OMG to control the tempo of this game.
Yeah, making sure that they're dealing with this lane swap as effectively as they can. MLXG heads down. They will have an extra body as soon as Looper gets here, but this inner turret is almost well and truly over, and they've still got a decent creep wave. We'll see whether they head towards the inhibitor turret as well.
I think
this wave's large.
Bigger wave for RNG, but they do back away. They don't want to be able to race this one.
You can see Looper's actually going back, was thinking about a bit of a gank there in the mid lane, something like that, but instead heads back towards the top lane, level 4, so no equalizer to clear out a wave, but will get himself there.
And instead not tier 2 pushes, just resetting of wave, so nothing funny going to come out of either team. Apart from the fact that Looper stops one back, which is pretty massive.
It's his lane opponent there as well, so Xiang forced back a little bit. And Looper's going to have a fair bit of time with this wave.
Yeah, neither wave really going to freeze. I mean, as soon as they hit the turret, they bounce back relatively well. So As you can see, SMLZ not making any pretense of anything else apart from just mowing down creeps.
It's exactly what it looked like as well. Zycon picks himself up a blue buff. Xiaohu was poking his head around.
He's searching for him still. I mean, they think he's at the Gromp. He's not Xiaohu. Instead, Expedition a little bit failed. Uzi has got level 6. Something that RNG do like to do is to run down a lane strat with Sivir. You can see that they're definitely positioning aggressively for it.
Yeah, thinking about the mid lane for that option. Tom Kench was off to the side. 5 moving up the river on the bottom side, but there it is. Circle of Frost lands. Frozen Tomb comes in. The exhaust is down. An Icon was there, I think, moments ago. But I couldn't be sure.
Yeah, exactly right. And all of a sudden now they've got positioning on the mid lane, so a very aggressive move. MLXG might be in and certainly will not be. He's going to escape. Mid lane turret going to fall.
Yep, not going to have horse for dinner this time around, so outer turret going to fall down. Big creep wave as Xiang looking to try and answer. Ooh. Good clear out of Zhui Zhui.
Yeah,
only loses half
really nicely done. So Zhui Zhui able to duck in there, and it was actually MLXG moving away and, you know, wanting to continue this jungling. They do use a lot of ultimates to knock down the LeBlanc, so you can understand why they weren't able to stick around. And actually, Equalizer burnt out of Looper.
Yeah, not sure where.
Just on the creep wave.
Right.
Just threw down the pineapples.
Yep, one of the red carpet.
The Band-Aid, as you once called it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of regret there. One of the skins looks a little bit like a Band-Aid in my defense. That's all I had. As MLXG very close to his Trinity Force.
Uzi very close to Icon. Needs to be careful.
Does get himself the Rift Scuttler, though. As Looper just trying to shove this wave into the turret and will do so effectively. Xiang not going to tank that one up. Already at half health, but does have himself the Double Doran's Ring and, of course, the Spectre's Cowl, so he's feeling okay going into this matchup.
This is a very early 1-3-1, actually, out of the OMG lineup. Don't tend to see them this early in the game.
Yeah.
Just because you can't challenge the kill all that much.
Zhui Zhui throws down his ultimate, but the smite too strong out of MLXG and will be able to take away his own blue buff. Doesn't go to Xiaohu, though, which is important. An Icon waiting for an assassination. Uzi sticking to the right side of the lane, but he's still flirting with danger.
You can see he's actually trying to bait this out now because Marta is coming in, although Marta just might die.
Yeah, Chain is going to land. Actually, no. Icon just
whiffed that one,
over.
Yep.
I thought it would have had to. It was just eaten by
it was a given, really. If anything, it's his fault. It's not yours.
Yeah. I was preparing myself. Just unfortunate. You tend to expect a certain level.
And you're just not delivering, Icon. Come on, you're making this hard for everyone. Step up.
Yeah, exactly. That's called shirking blame, if ever I've heard it. As you can see, SMLZ now picking up that farm in the mid lane. 118 to 117. Uzi still farming out very well at the same time. Wit's End done, though, like you said. Early power spike coming out for the Kog'Maw. Feeling good about that as Marta holds his ground here in the brush. Pink Ward's still there, knows that he's not spotted as Xiaohu just wondering where he wants to go. Frozen Tomb back up. That tongue was long, but not quite long enough there, 5.
And you know, all the ultimates back available, so they can pull the trigger on a similar play in the mid lane if they want to. Positioning minion waves very well so far, RNG.
Yeah, and MLXG eating the jungle at the same time. He's already got his Trinity Force. That was about 11 minutes that he had that one picked up.
Couple of early kills, definitely going to help out that case.
Yeah. The horse is becoming a big deal as Looper overheats himself, but Xiang just playing with his windows as effectively as he can. Uses his Twisted Advance.
Wants a 1v1.
Yeah, looking for it. There's the Abyssal Voyage. Does get the rest of his team up there. Teleport's coming in, but Lupo's not going to survive SMLZ's damage. The teleport was completed by Xiaohu. Throws down the Circle of Frost. The Frozen Tomb comes in, but OMG just tank it up. There is no way that he's getting out of it. Can Marta and MLXG get the work done? Greyhealth's going to get eaten. The spit out comes down, but SMLZ flashes himself out of the way. Oh my god, the drive-by out of MLXG will mop up the bottom lane, but still a trade in favor of OMG.
Yeah, it's still a 3 for 2, so good news there for OMG, but you can really see how much of a big deal MLXG is becoming. Able to chunk out 2 members, pick up a double kill, see if they get any objectives off this, although gut feeling is they need to run away from the LeBlanc. However, if any duo just stands there and delivers, it is going to be RNG.
That's exactly right, and they most certainly did it. Multiple people after the other. Zycon gets himself out of the way and clears up this minion wave with the Mimic Distortion and the Distortion itself. Look at SMLZ's damage in that last fight. The Wit's End spike really doing work. Now 1-1 and 2 behind in farm, but it doesn't really matter. Uzi was nowhere near that fight. Only has his Essence Reaver done. And the Cogmore is getting online.
It's just one of those things. I mean, you really can't delay the Cogmore anymore. I feel like you can kill it a couple of times in lane and get yourself ahead.
Yeah.
But you can't really deny him farm because of the way the lane swap meta works right now, waves are just going to bounce everywhere. Xiao, he wants to stay down in this lane relevant. He can see that there's 2 members nearby, maybe even a third.
One of them is an icon. That is about it. Xiang's going to show on the top side of the map. Xiao does have to be careful. He's been playing relatively haphazardly this game, to be honest. Looking for his Abyssal Scepter as item number 1. As a pause does come in, Uzi and Marta just farming things out. And so far, OMG have been able to answer the aggression of this RNG roster.
Now, I don't want to jinx anyone, but I just saw Xiang knock something and then stare at his computer down by his leg. So I feel like we might have had another T incident, Atlas. However, don't quote me on that until we actually see what's going on. But I did actually, you know, just happen to catch a little glance out of Xiang on his player cam.
You see MLXG doesn't really know what's going on, so maybe it is something moving over to the OMG side of the stage.
I just remember last split, it happened with Pastry Time and I, and like it was legitimately a 40-minute concern. Like there is tea all through the computer. We can't do anything, and it's that wet we can't put another computer there. So, you know, we'll see if that is the case, and you know, we might be here for a long time.
That sounds like the worst possible scenario, but at the moment it does give us an opportunity to go over what's happened so far in this game. OMG just managed to tie things up 4-4 as far as those kills are concerned, got themselves a positive trade on the top side of the map, and played out the lane swap quite effectively.
Yeah, they certainly did, and you know, you have to say that OMG, they've never really struggled in the early game. They can go with most teams there. It is as the game progresses that they start to fall a little bit behind. But one thing I will point out is they haven't done a good job of keeping a track of what is RNG's win condition. You know, Looper, he's been able to push up sideways, been able to clean up a lot of farm around the map, and MLXG is massive. So, you know, in the 2 things that you really do need to keep down on RNG, they've kind of failed in both of those. At the same time, however, you understand if they want to scale side by side and equally, because they do have the Cogmore, they are going to have an earlier spike in this game.
Yeah, and we'll see whether the Maokai is going to be able to work out as well, because did survive the lane swap scenario quite effectively, kept up in farm with Looper as well. So the Maokai, the tree, going to be doing A-OK things towards the later stages of the game, and protecting the Cogmore is going to be his job.
And I think that the fact that Maokai is in this game, it was early picked, by the way, and all of a sudden has 3 AoE, like damage dealers, in the mix is a huge boon for OMG. I mean, they would never have guessed that the ultimate would be that valuable in the grand scheme of things. So, you know, it certainly is.
Wow, they've got themselves a fearsome team-op.
Yeah, they certainly do. You can see Xiang a little bit red-faced. No, it wasn't a T on a computer incident, I assure you, because they don't swap computers that quickly.
Yeah, that would have been pretty incredible as Icon.
Oh, he fumbled it.
Doesn't find it. Does manage to get over the top with the flash, but that's a big cooldown for what could have been a very small cooldown.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see. You can see already RNG just turned their eyes straight towards the dragon. They're like, key summoner spell no longer available, although Uzi also not available.
Moving over now, MLXG looking for a flanking play, has the Onslaught of Shadows available. Ghost almost up as well as the dragon resets.
Oh, he's in behind, and they actually are looking towards a mid lane turret. This could be a huge overreach.
Well, Uzi does have the ultimate. Oh my goodness, the equalizer goes down. Immediate eat comes out of 5 to try and get Shui out of there. Does so as SMLZ in a decent position.
That's nice a really basic mistake out of RNG. Ult the Tahm Kench. He's the only one that you can really lock down in that situation. It's what we see with Malzahar as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be able to lock down the person that's going to save the rest of the team. Now, all their ultimates burnt. It's not really all that much they can do around this fight.
Xiaohu setting himself up. Does get a little bit of harassment onto 5, but Icon back here. Full health almost there from Zhuizhui as well. They're trying to clear out the vision. Marta comes down, gets the last hit there. Zhuizhui gets a bit of damage, but the Unbreakable's good from Marta.
You feel like that was honestly the time that RNG had all the ultimates available and could have hit that big go button, but was not to be.
Yeah.
No use crying over spilt milk, and it is going to be OMG that pick up the dragon.
Yeah, no contest to come out of RNG here as MLXG. Looking to try and get a bit of a smite, but doesn't find it. Exhaust goes down. MLXG just going to ult himself out. Knows that they're not going to be fighting over any more dragons for the next 6 minutes. Holds on. Doesn't hold on to that ultimate button.
So a big mistake actually coming out of RNG once again. You have to credit OMG for punishing what has been, honestly, another lackluster performance. I thought that they were going to bounce back.
Yeah.
RNG historically is a team that heads into finals incredibly well, but not to be.
Still relatively early days here at 17 minutes, but you're right, it doesn't feel like the decisive RNG we saw taking down a lot of their games with gusto. Uzi, however, now has himself an extra BF sword building towards that Infinity Edge and a dagger, so wants to go Infinity Edge Zeal or something like that. We have seen a little bit more earlier Infinity Edges just for the quicker spike.
I also just don't mind BF Sword for the point that it waves clears incredibly well.
Yeah.
And, you know, if he is going to be stuck mid lane and they're going into a 1-3-1 or something like that, it does allow turrets to survive pretty much effortlessly. I mean, you can see how much more work SMLZ has to put into clearing his side of the wave than Uzi.
That problem will be short up a little bit with the Runan's Hurricane coming in relatively soon, but you're exactly right. In fact, might be this back. He's able to pick that one up. Icon answers this wave that's shoved in from Xiaohu. And there it is. So Hurricane done. SMLZ. We'll see what he decides to go for second item. I'm hoping for Ginsu's Rage Blade. But look, the money's probably on a Blade of the Realm King.
Once again, it's really only MLXG that's going to have any health. I do think that there's another great case to be made for Rage Blade as a third item in this build.
Well, hopefully he does go for it. We shall see, of course. We'll probably go for recurve bow first, so we won't even know from then. Smarter finds himself Winter's Bite onto Zhui Zhui. And SMLZ, you can see, yeah, that wave clear has been augmented.
Really smart wave assignments actually here out of OMG. They acknowledge that LeBlanc pretty much can't kill Xiaohu anymore. However, who he can kill is going to be Looper. So sends Icon up there, although now being ganked out.
Yeah, you can see MLXG able to get a lot of damage on. This is ridiculous. Equalizer flies through, and MLXG just spots him out, ults his face off. RNG looking dominant on the top side of the map.
MLXG just nearly one-hit him. Yeah. I mean, and that's without the Sivir ult coming in and no Dead Man Plate as of yet. That matchup just gets worse. That was truly unexpected damage.
It's just ridiculous. Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. Horse should not be hitting that hard against Icon's LeBlanc that was 2-1-0. Quite a good point. But not a lot of armor. And that is a Trinity Force 5-1-0 Hecarim. So yeah, it probably makes more sense than I was ready for.
Yeah, but at the same time, this is what they did a poor job of. They didn't keep a track of MLXG. They haven't really shut down that part of the map. Sure, Xiaohu is the one that really does look a little bit out of sorts, but everyone else for RNG is at the part of the game that they like to be at 20 minutes in, so...
And Xiaohu just needs to do his job. I mean, he's a Frozen Tomb bot if they need it. Doesn't need to be the big playmaker. Of course, you can see Lysandras do that, but is still going to have a heck of a lot of utility.
Well, especially not with a Tahm Kench on the team. So, you know, it's not huge pressure on Xiaohu this game to, you know, lock down key targets. Needs to be more aware of his ultimate and, you know, landing it on himself or, you know, maybe even the Kench when the time is right.
Well, RNG worth thinking about a Baron. You can see they've got a lot of vision down around the area.
I could not have been more wrong about the pause, by the way. It was because Icon lost team comp, so nothing to do with Xiang at all.
He was apparently him under the bus.
Apparently just looking at his teammate. So yeah,
right.
Ignore me for momentary entertainment value, and I apologize, Icon.
Well, Uzi actually going to take a heck of a lot of damage.
Probably just cost his AD carry a kill.
Yeah, you get smacked in the back of the head. It's like, what are you doing? I was killing him.
Spit me out, you dumb toad.
Well, Uzi just going to relegate himself to killing some wolves and not even going to be able to do that as MLXG is going to be the one that locks it down. You can see Pickaxe now done. We'll see whether he can complete the Infinity Edge as he goes back to base. Still has a heck of a lot of farm on this Sivir. But doesn't actually get anything. Just grabs his health bar back. Moves himself over. Xiaohu gets himself a blue buff. Must be one of his first ones to come in, actually.
Yeah, I actually think that is the first. We saw that the Invade was there last time around and meant that MLXG picked it up.
Yeah. RNG still do have a lead. Approximately 2,000 gold is how far they are up. RNG do look to know exactly what they're doing around this map. We've mentioned that they do play well with global-based compositions. 5 now with the Abyssal Voyage that you just saw him use. He's able to get them around the map. Xiang with his teleport there as well. We'll see whether they can capitalize.
And I really cannot stress how hard this Kog'Maw is going to spike on the next item, as well as Xiang. I mean, they have the tools to be able to clean up a team fight.
Oh, yeah.
If one falls into their lap.
LXG going to steal himself a blue buff as Icon looking for a chain. Rampage comes in as the Ghost. Not going to be enough to get him away from the snare, but it is just going to get him away just in general.
Yep, so he will majestically prance across Summoner's Rift.
Yep.
However, that is a lot of damage and a key ability used on the Hecarim for what is now another dragon fight.
Yeah, Mata actually finds 5 here on the backside. Gets eaten. The chain's actually avoided based on that as Mata flashes forward, gets himself a nice 4-man knock-up as MLXG's found Zhuizhui. Look at the damage of Xiaohu. Already locks him up. The health bars are erupting. Looper gets himself into the backline and deletes the Kog'Maw. Icon still racing through, but Xiaohu has found himself Xiang, and RNG demolish OMG in that fight.
Yeah, they absolutely destroy them. Only Icon is alive, and he's backing on a ward, so he needs to be careful. He's going to look for a kill, but might just die.
Yeah, the Claw of Doom came out. Looper landed a harpoon, but thankfully Mimic Distortion back up again. Let's have a look at this fight one more time.
So they think they've caught Mata, but he flashes himself into a great position and gets a 3-man ulti. Zhuizhui gets deleted at the start of the fight, and then just a layering of the AoE ability. Xiaohu gets it right this time, ults himself. Looper lays out the red carpet over the top. You know, they are able to get the win. I mean, 5 tried to eat a horse, but, you know, you get indigestion when that happens, and he died.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too much as Icon's just killed Looper. You're over to the side as, yeah, when Rumble dies, makes hilarious sounds. We get it. It is going to be another dragon pickup, but now the first for RNG.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing, I mean, the return of the AD caster build. You already mentioned it. And I do like to point this out, but Uzi was very famous in Season 2, Season 3 of picking up crit items when he shouldn't have. He really does believe in the heart of the cards.
Oh, yeah.
And we have another team fight.
Well, they're trying to siege down. Nice Winter's Bite lands onto Zhuizhui. RNG. 4 members here. Able to get the repellent out onto OMG. Otherwise, not too much else standing in their way. Icon wasn't there. No assassination to come down. Now MLXG looking to try and lock himself down a red buff. It's not going to happen as collateral damage is in there. Xiaohu throws down his ultimate on himself as the tree gets eaten by 5. In goes the equalizer, though. The positioning from Looper is fantastic as Xiaohu gets himself over the side. MLXG through the back end gets enough damage in, and Uzi's now going nuts with the AoE. RNG have just turned it on. Hit 20 minutes. They are able to get the fights they want.
They're completely crushing them, and it is really off the back end of Looper and Xiaohu using their ultimates together beautifully.
That was stunning.
Atlas. I mean, that time especially, Xiaohu goes first, then Looper with the follow-up after everyone has used their escapes to get out of it. Looper really is having a fantastic Rumble game. Sure, he's been solo killed a couple of times, but it always has been about what you can do in these team fight situations, and that's back-to-back terrific ultimates.
Yeah, where you layer those pineapples in Looper's case. Also one of the Rumbles that uses the best skin as well.
Yeah, Rumble in the Jungle is so much better than Super Galactica, whatever the heck that other thing is.
Gundam guy. It sounded like an Australian reference, I apologize. This is a global broadcast. So Icon now looking to shove out this mid lane one more time. Xiaohu heading towards the bottom side as SMLZ is just trying to pick himself up some extra farm. Is going to be the Blade of the Ruined King as his third item. Hasn't caught on to the Ginsu's Rage Blade as being still a good choice as Uzi clears up that minion wave so quickly. It was ridiculous. Now looking for a Zeal item as that Infinity Edge is done. That earlier spike.
And it did its job. I mean, he was able to hold onto that mid lane minion wave incredibly well.
Yeah. And got a lot of AoE crits in that last team fight at the same time. Saw those health bars, everyone going down so low. And RNG, all of a sudden, 6,000 gold lead, 26 minutes.
And they've actually done it through like some good team fighting, but you know, they've stuck in a 1-3-1 for majority of this game. And somewhere, Deficio is warming up for the EU LCS, and that single tier is being brought to his eye because this is something that RNG couldn't do. They couldn't lane swap it correctly this game. They had a very good lane swap phase. And, you know, they weren't able to get the 1-3-1 set up well enough. They were always a very good team fighting team. But, you know, maybe some progress being made in the LPL right now for the team that did represent the region at MSI.
Yeah, it might have been why we saw RNG not necessarily looking as comfortable in the earlier stages, just because, you know, they are making adjustments, making changes, improving. Zycon waiting for someone to come and try and steal his blue buff. Ward's going to be cleared. Boomerang flies through, doesn't find anyone. The blue not going to be contested for now. Oh!
Shui had to grab it.
He got it. So denied from the mid laner. Still a win for RNG.
Yeah, huge win. I mean, LeBlanc relies on being able to get multiple spell rotations out, not to mention the fact that it is percentage extra AP.
Yeah, true.
Something that is overlooked far too often in League of Legends at the moment.
Only recently added, of course.
Oh, we patch the game every 2 weeks. I feel like recent has a different definition in League of Legends.
It was this year, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was mid-season magic. I know when it was, silly. Don't you question me. As they have actually started up the Baron buff.
By accident, by the looks of things. MLXG looking to go home. Back going to come in from Mata as well. Looks like they want to collect themselves some vision. As Looper and Uzi are still here. Mata cancels his back, understanding that he may need to protect his teammates. Doesn't, though. You can see Tom Kench and Graves just poking their heads in. See what they can find. And OMG collect themselves here in the mid lane. Icon dancing around, clears out the wave, and Uzi does so effortlessly.
Cool. So watch the ward in the wolf pit.
Okay.
They've pinged it out a couple of times now. They're going to go back to starting up this Baron. And you can see Xiaohu waiting. That ward right there on your screen.
And they'll be able to collapse so incredibly fast as well. Looper doesn't have his
Teleport
teleport,
coming.
but there it is. It's on that ward in the wolf pit. As we do pan over there, the equalizer avoided, but MLXG locks down the Baron. Shui is dying so fast and will get crit by Uzi to finish him off. MLXG still wanting the engage, and MLXG goes down to his GA. Xiaohu finally makes his way into the fight as Xiang's tanking a lot of damage, but probably too much. Dash Cannon gets Looper in there, but Zhonya's is going to keep him safe. Uzi takes down the Tahm Kench. Xiang is going to fall next as Icon falls at the hands of Xiaohu, and my goodness, this RNG team can still fight like gods.
They certainly can, and they're able to get in their beautiful flanking play, corrals them into the enemy jungle. I mean, they're able to close the trap. They pick up Baron, they get 5 members, and they don't lose anyone. What an amazing play out of RNG.
Just ridiculous. And I was honestly feeling some pressure for them in the earlier stages of the game. Looked like OMG were able to play that one out very nicely, but then you've got Uzi doing, honestly, what looked like 70% of his team's damage in that last fight. Just ridiculous.
It certainly was, and I mean, you have to credit Xiaohu, quick learner. Ulted a member at the start of the game, eaten by Tahm Kench. This time around, dives in there, ults himself.
Yeah.
You know, it just is a small iteration that RNG has made in their playstyle, and they're monstrously big.
And that's a GA picked up outright for Uzi as well on that most recent back. An Ocean Drake for themselves is on offer here as they take their Baron buff over to the Dragon Pit. 30 minutes into the game means that if they kill it, the next one will be that Elder Drake, but it looks like they are wanting to push out some minion waves while MLXG and Uzi just mop this one up.
Yeah, and they're going to rip through it in no short order. And I mean, one thing that you always love to see about compositions that have Lissandra, have Rumble with Zhonya's Hourglass, is they dive incredibly effectively. So yeah, all of a sudden there is even more pressure on a team comp that has 0 summoner spells left available, apart from 5's Flash, to be able to repel this siege.
And they're low cooldown ultimates on the side of RNG as well. I mean, they're all back up. They can re-engage this, and they're not reliant on having that flash in there to get themselves into position. Looper's equalizer, more than happy to throw that one down at any stage. Still has that flash button if he needs it. Nice chain lands onto Xiaohu, but no engagement comes in as MLXG just bounds onto a ward. As you generally do when you accidentally click them, stuff like that. It's frustrating. Looper, he's pushing out the top wave. You got Xiaohu on the bottom side of the map. The 1-3-1 is in effect, and there are Baron buffs everywhere for RNG.
Yeah, and one more time, a really nice use of the 1-3-1, although Icon diving onto Looper wants to see if he can make a meal of it. Cannot.
Certainly can't, as OMG getting spread pretty thin. MLXG now pounces on... Oh my god, Shui! That was an auto Q after the E, and he's almost dead. Collateral damage is an afterthought, but that is going to be the base broken. Baroned up minions helping take down this inhibitor as Uzi's ripping it apart as well. Icon tries to clear Doesn't do it as quickly as he'd like, and that is going to be inhibited down for RNG.
Yeah, you can see that Xiaohu's teleport almost back available as well. They grab a second turret for their trouble. MLXG needs to be careful.
Does he? He just looked at a turret and it fell down.
Well,
I'd feel pretty intimidating.
There was a LeBlanc there. I mean, that's a little bit of a risky play, but you're right. Does get away with it, so no harm, no foul.
Almost has himself some magic resist completed as well. His Glacial Shroud is done. Looking to complete that 40% CDR if he grabs himself a Frozen Heart, which I hope he gets instead of an Iceborne Gauntlet, because that'd be redundant with the Trinity Force and it would bother me. Although, you know, Zatai builds Trinity Force and Black Cleaver on Aurelia.
Certainly does.
Crazier things have happened.
Got to run quick, man.
Certainly do. As RNG now moving back towards the top side of the map. They're spotted by the Scrying Orb. Marta going to clear it, but MLXG gets around the side. Icon takes half of his health on the hunt pop from Uzi, who really wants to kill someone. Teleport back up from Xiaohu. Looper does have his at the same time. He's moving down towards the bottom side of the map to answer the wave pushing out from Xiong.
But we keep talking about it. I mean, the cooldown on the hunt at this point in the game is pretty much non-existent.
Yeah. Already halfway done, approximately. The 30% CDR that Uzi already has from that Essence Reaver, giving him so much. SMLZ has a lot of wave clear. Can eat through these super minions as well, which is good news for OMG.
Will Looper just use Dash Cannon?
Ooh, and overheats himself as well. He's going to face check. Icon lands the chain, just explodes. Zhonya's comes in. That is not going to be enough.
I feel for you there.
Oh my goodness.
So he does get taken down all of a sudden.
He's got to be careful. The claw comes down. Xiaohu doesn't follow it. As you can see, MLXG just wants to take down this turret. Icon is backing right now, wants to get into this fight. His Frozen Tomb was there. That is going to be interrupted. Turret just falls down. That's going to be the focus here from RNG.
So RNG able to break the base in another position, even though Looper dies. Doesn't really mean all that much. Just a pick.
He needed to go back anyway, finish his death cap.
Exactly right. So, you know, all of a sudden he's got that. Bigger shields, more damage. Everything good in the life of Looper. And as I said, the best thing about playing Rumble is that you can die and do stuff like that. You know, as long as you hit the equalizers when it counts, it doesn't really matter all that much, Atlas.
As long as a big 5v5 doesn't burst out immediately after you've just been solo killed.
It's not going to be a 5v5 at that stage.
That's true. It's a 4v5, and you struggle in those if you're absent.
I don't know. There was a lot burnt from there. I'd be like, yep, no ultimate, no ignite on the LeBlanc. You guys should be fine.
Exactly. Bought some time as well, some space. They took down that inhibitor turret. So if I was Looper, I'd still be feeling pretty good about myself as Icon, sitting on top of a pink ward. Xiaohu and Marta saying, you kill my top laner. This is what you get.
See?
Oh, there's the flash. They managed to stun him up as the vision got in there. And the split second they knew Icon was waiting, they killed him.
I love plays like that. That's one of those plays where Uzi was the one that dropped the blue trinket, and it was Xiaohu that flashed forward. It's like when you see supports ward for their Lee Sin, so they can ward hop away. I mean, just great coordination coming out of RNG and able to pick up a kill. I mean, it's the little things, but plays like that make you feel great, not as an individual, but as a team.
Yeah, it's the hive mind mentality, and it looked fantastic out of RNG. They now have some time in this 4v5, wanted to break open the base in the last remaining position on the bottom side. MLXG playing the flank, just looks at the turret and it falls down as this inhibitor is going to follow. They can just move to the top lane if they want to. Maybe just back away, pick themselves up a Baron buff here in 14 seconds and then pollute the base of OMG with super creeps.
Yeah, realistically everything's available. The world is RNG's oyster. They are a freshly graduated student looking for their place in the world. Realistically, the institution of OMG cannot keep them down right now.
Yep, the degree that just says 50G in yellow above the Nexus. See whether they can find it. There's multiple projectiles thrown out by the bottom lane of RNG to try and keep OMG away from this Baron.
One more time, you can see them pinging out the deep wards. They really are playing these flanking plays well. Looks like OMG just don't want anything to do with it, so instead they'll just teleport back into the Baron.
Yeah, and I like that Xiaohu just recognized the fact that he still probably, you know, should have an extra member there, so Looper turns up. Xiaohu going to head back down the mid lane.
I just feel like that's the second time this game where Looper was like, oh, you know, I ate too much for lunch. I'm not walking. I'm using teleport. And they're like,
Come on,
really,
the
Looper?
first time, it was a teleport used about a meter.
Well, he had a stitch at that point. I mean, now he's just a little bit bloated as they go in.
Yeah, well, Inhibitor thought about being the focus, but look, it's the fight that they really want. 5 eats up his Cogmore, but he's so incredibly low. Good exhaust on MLXG, but he has a GA. Xiang's going to fall down next as the Cogmore was the priority target. Uzi already with the double kill as Icon heads his way in. MLXG is all over this battle as now you've got OMG relegated to the fountain. Shui in trouble. Uzi trying to get an auto, but doesn't get in there. MLXG is dead on the fountain. Xiaohu's in there at the same time, just having a dance.
He tried to escape as well via teleport. I mean, everything's going on. RNG will pick up game number 1.
They will. Uzi there, of course, still has some damage. Still has some seriousness this game as Looper does get himself out of that pit. That scrap shield's starting to get large. As the Nexus turrets fall, and the Nexus will follow. RNG, a little bit of a slow start, but my God, when they get into 5v5 team fights, you never doubt them.
Yeah, exactly right. And, you know, you have to, one more time, just go back to the point that this is going to be an uphill battle for OMG, so credit to them that they're able to keep it together. For majority of that game, I mean, it looked like an inevitability after the first couple of team fights went against them, but they did really dig deep and hold that one firm. So, you know, it is what it is, but right now, RNG just look like they are so crisp in those 5v5 situations.
Yeah, and as far as like being a group of 5 players as well, they just look far more on the same page. There was some sort of sloppiness in the laning phase, things like that. Of course, that 1v1 in the mid lane, Xiaohu and MLXG having that weird miscommunication where things went a little bit wrong. Icon did manage to pick himself up a kill. And this was a great play from OMG on the top side of the map as well. These sort of isolated skirmishes, utilizing the fact that they had better positioning. But
yeah, this was just a 1-by-1. I mean, this is a bit inexcusable out of the RNG lineup. They sent the teleport in even though Looper was definitely dead. And if Hecarim wasn't this fed, I mean, the team fight would have been much more different. However, he was that fed and he was able to grab a
helicopter.
kills.
It was ridiculous. But, of course, that was still a 1 team fight for OMG. But this is where it all went wrong. Marta with the engage. And look at the layering of CC, the equalizer, the frozen tomb, all of that AoE, and OMG just had nothing to work with.
The scariest thing for me is that's like a level 11, level 12, yeah. So he's got a rank 2 ultimate there, Xiang, and everyone still died from the AoE. I mean, what's a Maokai to do?
He's like, this is my job. This is what I was built for.
Remix. We're going back in time to see that one again.
We are. The vision has to come in as the equalizer comes down. This wasn't exactly the best one, but it secured themselves the Baron. No one can walk across that carpet.
And you have to understand, you know, you either fight for the Baron or you get the heck out of dodge. They kind of do both here.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Shui falls down at the start of the fight, and then RNG just are able to get better positioning.
And SMLZ was never safe as well, just because of the range and radius of all of these AoE ultimates. Everything like that, he was always trying to kite himself back, but could just never get himself into a safe position.
Well, the problem was Hecarim was flying at people, right? And they kept collapsing back onto SMLZ. They weren't trying to repel the Hecarim and, you know, keep him in place. They were actually coming back to the Cogmore. That meant when the Equalizer went down, when the Frozen Tomb went down, more often than not, he was in the firing line as well, Atlas. I mean, he wasn't flashing over walls to get the heck out of dodge. He was sitting there trying to spray people down, but it's just way too much incidental damage for a Void Puppet to live through. Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. We'll see whether OMG are going to go back to a comp like that or whether they stick to their guns in game number 2. But we are going to have a short break, and when we get back, it will be that game number 2 between OMG and RNG.